Where's our media crew? Give them a shout out. There he is. Yeah, that's out there. Try not to get me in trouble tonight, please.
What's going on, everyone? This is the Aggie Game Day Extra podcast. I'm KBTX senior Texas A&M sportswriter Travis Brown here in the KBTX studios. But I just got back from a bunch of road travels, and that's why it's just me here and not Max and Tyler as normal. Following head coach Mike Elko on the Coaches Night circuit this month. Just got back in town from Dallas and Fort Worth A&M's club's Coaches Nights, where Mike Elko spoke to the crowd. Also, Bucky McMillan joined the crowd at the Dallas A&M club last night. So for this week, I just want to bring you what Mike Elko said, this time at the Fort Worth A&M club Coaches Night that was at the Cowtown Coliseum, to get a little taste of what his message has been during talking season. So note that this is before the commitment of Brandon Arrington, the athlete out of California that happened today on Thursday. Mike Elko actually spoke in Fort Worth on Tuesday, so any of the recruiting information that he gives, which is limited because of NCAA rules, does not include the Arrington commitment that happened on Thursday. So without further ado, here is Mike Elko's speech at the Fort Worth A&M Club Coaches Night.
Howdy! Thank you for that. I appreciate that standing ovation. That means a lot, and extremely blessed and extremely thankful to be here. Also thankful that Andrew Monaco left me a little bit to talk about this time. Down in Houston, he kind of put on my entire speech for me before I got a chance to talk, and so he left a few things open. How about one more round of applause for you guys and everything you just did in that auction, raising money for Aggie scholarships. That was awesome. The Aggie spirit truly travels everywhere you go. Although there was a moment in time where the guy with the Beretta, I felt like kept pointing it at me, and I thought he was trying to remind me how important that game at the end of the year was, that we figured out how to win it this year, and I just didn't know what he was going with that Beretta. Thankful to my wife, Michelle. This is her first Coaches Night. She's here with me, and so we have hit quite a few milestones this year, and God bless her that she's still here and she's still sober. But back in March, my daughter got her license, and so anyone coming to Aggie games this fall, be careful, because she will be on the road in full force. And then in April, my oldest son turned 21, and so now he apparently is free to do whatever he wants, which is a little bit of a scary thought. And then just last Friday, my oldest son Andrew, or my middle son Andrew, graduated high school, and so we've done a 21-year-old, a driver's license, and a high school graduation in the last 3 months. And so she's a trooper, and she lets me do everything that I do to help support this university. And then how about that news today that we got on Twitter? I don't know if anybody saw it, but there was a package apparently that was shipped to Texas A&M, a real shiny, fast package. For those of you who follow recruiting, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm not really allowed to say much more than that, because I'm sure my media people are in the back of the room somewhere tweeting out everything I'm saying as we speak. Where's our media crew? Give them a shout out. There he is. Yeah, that's out there. Try not to get me in trouble tonight, please. Exciting times at Texas A&M. I think we are really excited about the progress that we've made in our year and a half on campus. I think when you think back to where we were after the Houston Bowl, where the program was from a culture standpoint, where we were from just a volatility standpoint in terms of our roster, who was staying, who was going, what our staff and what we've been able to do to kind of steady this ship and get this thing pointed in an upward direction has really been impressive. We're really proud of the foundation that we've laid in the first year here for where Texas A&M football is and where it's going. We're more committed now and more belief in now than ever that we're going to build the championship program that each and every one of you deserves. The program that's competing year in and year out to be the premier program in all of college football. But to get there, it had to start with the foundation. Someone had to come in and really build this thing from the ground up the right way, and that's what we did. For those of you who are in business, you understand what culture is and what culture can do to improve an organization. For us, culture is a unified vision. It's a unified vision from the top all the way down to the lowest part of the program, that everybody has a purpose and a meaning behind what they do every day. And then there's a standard of accountability that everybody within that organization lives up to it. Our culture at Texas A&M right now is phenomenal. We had a 3.0 GPA this year for the first time in Texas football history. Texas A&M football history. We had 100% attendance again at the big event for the second year in a row, and I think what we're doing in and around the Bryan College Station community, being visible at the food banks, in the schools, out in the community, we are building the program that Aggies want, and we're building the program that Aggies will be proud of. And I think all of those things are signs of where we want to go. Andrew talked about retention. When you want to know what's really going on in a program, pay attention to what the people in the program are doing and what the people in the program are saying. It's a lot more honest than what you may or may not read on social media. We were able to retain our entire coaching staff. We were able to retain so many of our NFL prospects who had mid-round grades, who decided to return not only to help boost their NFL draft status, but also to finish what we started and finish what we couldn't get done last year and bring that SEC championship finally to Bryan College Station. They're hard at work right now, and at the opening day press conference, we talked an awful lot about being a group, being an organization that would just kind of shut up, roll up our sleeves, and go to work. And I think that's what we're doing. Our boys showed up in around Memorial Day. We've been getting after it all summer, 5 days a week. They look great. They're training hard. The chemistry is good. For those of you who follow us, we were out playing paintball last week, and so we try to mix in a little bit of that team building and team bonding stuff, but really excited about where we're going. And I think this year we have a chance to really take this thing forward from start to finish. And so when you look at the roster and you look at where we're at, I think everybody always kind of asks me to give a quick overview of the roster. I think we're really excited about what we were able to return. We have 16 returning starters. We have 23 players on our roster going into their final year of eligibility. You don't see that much. And I say this too, when I get through this part of it, everyone always asks me about, how committed are these guys to being Aggies? How committed are these guys to the university? In this NIL era, in this transfer portal era, how much do you really have a team that believes in what Texas A&M stands for? And I think if you look at some of the players and think about some of the names that have been in this program start to finish, through losing, through coaching change, through culture shift, through more standards, through more accountability, but are still there and are shining now at the end of their careers, I think it's a testament not only to them, but it's a testament to what Texas A&M University stands for and what it represents. And so that part of football is still there. That part of college football still exists, and we believe it's an integral part of what we do. The roster starts with the offensive line, and I think anytime you can talk about how the roster starts with the offensive line, you're feeling pretty good about what you can get accomplished. We were able to bring back our top 7 players. That was critical. Getting Trey Zune to forego the NFL draft, getting our Majay Reed-Adams to forego the NFL draft, bringing back both of our tackles, Deuce Fothery and Demetrius Crownover. Those were huge gets for us. And so we're real excited about the veteran experience that we have on that group. They played a lot of football. I think if you remember 2 years ago, the stride they took up until this year, I think now you've got one more year further along, and are really excited about where we're going. These guys are distracting me over here because they keep waving at the camera. You're good. I know you're having fun with the camera. And so we're good. We're excited about the offensive line. We had to get bigger at tight end. I see Hunter Goodwin sitting right in front of me, and so I know that position means an awful lot to him. He was a phenomenal Aggie for us and had a phenomenal career in the NFL. But so we went out and we got Nate Borgercher from Nebraska. He's a kid that we're real excited about. Big physical tight end. I think he can bring some threat in the passing game, but also a real sturdy line of scrimmage blocker, and so we're excited about that. Theo Mellon-Orstrom took a big step this offseason. I think he's going to have a really big fall for us. And then we went out and got Amari Nyblock, who is a really interesting talent. He's one of the biggest, most athletic kids that I've ever coached. He's a little bit of a tweener between tight end, wide receiver, but we're going to find a way to utilize him and get the ball in his hands. Had a really good year 2 years ago at Alabama playing for Coach Wiggins, our wide receiver coach, and so that was kind of the connection. And so we're excited about what he's going to add to what we're trying to do, and so excited about where that room got to. At running back, we bring back everybody who carried the ball. It's going to be another strength, and again, I think those are, when you think about like, okay, where is the program going? I'm sitting on the outside, I'm trying to figure this out. Should I believe in this? Should I believe in this direction? When you can bring back 4 experienced ball carriers, 3 of whom are going into the last year of college football, they believe in A&M, and they believe in what A&M is doing. And so obviously it's great to have Le'Veon Moss back and healthy. He looks awesome. Yeah, we can clap for that one. I'll clap for that one. He has done an unbelievable job of rehab to get himself in position where he is running full speed right now, cutting, doing everything that we need to do kind of in our summer OTAs, and he won't be cleared for contact till about midway through training camp, but we're not going to let him get hit until we play games anyway, so that's not really a big deal. But we're excited that he's back. And then Ruben Owens is back, and Ruben Owens is back and healthy. Yeah, we can clap for Ruben too. We'll clap for everyone who's going to score points for us this year. But it's good. It's good to get him back and healthy. It's been a long road back to recovery for him. He was a trooper last year, going out at the end of the season for us, long before he was 100%, and even still kind of was battling to get back his foot right through spring ball. But he looks great this summer. Amari Daniels has been an exceptional back for Texas A&M for 4 years. Getting him back is another veteran presence in that room, and then getting E.J. Smith to return. And EJ's a kid who I don't think a lot of people knew this, but EJ came in with a lot of injuries last year, and so really didn't have a great offseason. Didn't really get to train much in the offseason winter program. Didn't get to be full go really until training camp. And so I think you're even going to see a much better version of him, kind of a dual threat guy out of the backfield that can be a pass catcher, and excited with what we'll get from him. Did a lot to kind of charge the wide receiver room, I guess is the right way to word it. Needed to get better, needed to get more explosive, needed to get more dynamic. Went out and brought Casey Concepcion in from NC State. He was a kid that I was extremely familiar with. He had an unbelievable freshman year at Duke, at NC State when I was at Duke, and so I saw him firsthand, and he has been exceptional. And again, I just like telling these stories because I think it builds belief in really where college football is, but really where Texas A&M football is. He could be a captain, like absolutely could be a captain. He has been unbelievable with his work ethic, with his commitment to doing things the way we want to do them. He's been a role model for our younger wide receivers. And so when you sometimes see these guys, you get this feeling like, oh, well, he just went to the highest. It's not that. It's really not always that. And so we're really excited about him. Also a good example of not believing everything you read on social media in one of the more recent tweets about him, because he does not have that much money, for anyone who knows what I'm talking about. But he's a good kid. We brought in Mario Craver from Mississippi State. He's got unbelievable twitch and athleticism. He's one of the twitchiest wideouts that I've ever been around. He's a little bit, again, developing his body, getting a little bit more physically ready to play through the whole season of SEC football. But when he's right, he's really athletic and really twitchy. We actually took him because when I asked Will Lee after the Mississippi State game last year why he was playing so soft, he told me that kid is the fastest kid I've ever went against, and I didn't want to get run by. And so when he went into the portal, we kind of went aggressively after him and kind of based that on what we saw firsthand. And then our 3 freshmen, I think, are taking really, really big steps forward. I think Ashton Bethel-Roman had a great offseason. You started to see that a little bit in the spring game. He looks really good right now. Terry Bussey is healthy again this summer. Yeah, we can clap for Terry. Ashton's a little jealous that you didn't clap for him, but Terry always appreciates the applause. He's Texas guy. And then Isaiah Williams, I think, was another kid who really had a good spring, and you saw him take a step. And so I think offensively we're really in a good position. I think I covered all the positions, didn't I? Did I miss one? Oh, yeah. Quarterback. That's right. No, Marcel's been great. I think I've told this story at most of the coaches' night. I don't think that anybody really appreciates the development that Marcel made, because a lot of his development happened at the end of the year when we didn't get the results that we wanted. But if you really look into those last games, at Auburn, Marcel led us down the field on the road in the fourth quarter to take the lead late in the game. In the bowl game, Marcel Reed led us down the field late in the fourth quarter to give us the lead, right? Obviously, we have to finish those games and get the result, but if you're looking specifically at signs of growth just from the quarterback, I think they were there. I just think they were masked a little bit by the outcomes of those games. And so we believe in Marcel. We believe he's a difference maker. He's a dynamic runner, but he's also an elite passer. And we think we've got a really, really good quarterback going into this year. And so we're excited with that position. On the defensive side of the ball, the secondary is all back. Everyone who should have started at the beginning of the year, getting Will Lee coming back was huge. He was probably the kid who had the highest draft grade, but decided to return to the team. And so, that is going to be a huge thing for us as the boundary corner. We thought Will was the best corner that I've had, certainly going back to Jalen Jones times, but he's a really, really good football player for us. And then getting Tariq Chappelle back and getting him back and healthy is going to be really big. I don't think anybody really understood how big of a loss that was for us last year when we lost him for the season early. And so getting Tariq back will make a huge difference. Getting him to come back to Aggieland for a fifth season is really, really big. I think I was in my last year as the defensive coordinator when he showed up and started for us. And so it's been a long journey in my life from Tariq day one to where he is now. So that's a lot of experience that you're putting out on the field. We have every safety back, Bryce Anderson, Marcus Ratcliffe, Dalton Brooks. Those guys are going to play big roles for us this year. Scooby and Torian at linebacker really have an opportunity to step in and do some nice things. And we were able to kind of retool the defensive line. I think Cassius Howell will take a big step forward. We're excited for what he'll do this year. And then we went into the transfer portal and I think added a lot of value and a lot of depth. And so we're excited with the roster, we're excited to where we're going, but most importantly, we're just excited with the direction of this program. And for us to ultimately get where we want to go, we've got to continue to take steps and continue to take strides. And I'll finish with this. Success in business is never linear. You hear that all the time. And for you to get from where we were to being the championship program we want to be, we've got a steady climb, but it won't always be smooth. But I promise you, we're going to work our tails off to get this program and get this football team where you guys want and where you guys deserve it to be. And so we're excited for this fall. We're excited for where this program is going. We look forward to seeing you guys at Kyle Field. From there, I'll kind of open it up to questions if there's any.
Over 40 years ago, my parents started C&J Barbecue, and today we continue to honor Dad's legacy with the best barbecue in the Brazos Valley. With locations on Harvey Road, Southwest Parkway, and our newest location on William J. Bryan, we carry on our family tradition of serving up award-winning barbecue, sides, and desserts. We also offer delivery, catering, as well as custom menus and private chef services. Come visit us today for some of the best barbecue around. C&J Barbecue. The C is for Chip, the J is for Joe, and the barbecue is for you.
No? Okay, great. Thank you guys for coming. And, I'll give you a little bit longer than that. Uh-oh.
I'm just grabbing the mic for questions.
Oh, you're grabbing the mic. Okay, I thought you were kicking me off the stage. Huh? Yeah, we talked about Torian York and Scooby Williams. I think both of those guys, Torian's a really experienced player. He'll be a 2-year captain. If he returns next year, he'll be a 3-year captain. He's kind of the glue in the middle. And then Scooby Williams, not a lot of people know this, but Scooby tore his meniscus on the 5th play of the season last year. And so he played the entire year last year with a torn meniscus. And so that's an incredible amount of toughness that he showed, kind of gutting it out through the year. But we thought he played really well last year, and I think there's a lot more in him if we can keep him healthy this year.
Hey, Coach, thanks for coming out. What's an area of improvement that you've seen that you wouldn't see on film or you only see behind closed doors that you're most proud of that gets you fired up about the season?
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm going to say chemistry. Like the feeling when you're around our team and when you're around our players, they genuinely enjoy being in the building. They enjoy coming into workouts. They enjoy being around the weight room. As hard as it is at times going with Coach Moffitt, as hard as it is at times when we're going out and practicing, there's just a genuine energy around the program. And I think that's something that recruits feel, right? And so as everybody is always grounded in results, right? And we are too, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, we want to win as bad as anybody. But there's a process to getting the program into a position where it can consistently win. And sometimes it's those little things that get built and get developed that are ultimately what allows certain teams to get over the hump. And we feel like all of those indicators in our program are pointing in the right direction. Now, it's a path and it's a journey, and it's not standing here tonight guaranteeing you that we're going to be on top of the mountain tomorrow, but things are trending in the direction they need to go.
Howdy, Coach. Yeah, howdy, Coach. Welcome back to Cowtown. Regarding losing Nick Scorton and the Shamars, how are you feeling about the next guys in the pipeline in terms of replacing that production?
Yeah, I think obviously when you lose a first rounder and 2 second rounders, it's not easy. That's pretty good for us. But I think Cassius Howell is the first guy that jumps out to you. I think Cassius is going to be an elite player. I saw him somewhere as a first round pick in a mock draft this offseason. I don't know that that's quite right, but he's going to be close. And if he can go out there and have the year that we believe he has, I think that can be a reality for him. I think Al Regis is a kid that not enough people talk about. I think Al Regis had a really, really good year for us last year on the D-line. And so getting him back again is really special. DJ Hicks has taken the necessary steps to kind of put himself in position to be the next guy. Since I got here, this is an interesting stat. I'm in recruiting mode a little bit, so I got a lot of stats in my head. Since I got here in 2018, we've had as many D linemen drafted as any team in the SEC at 11. And so if you look at just kind of how that has worked over we can clap. We're allowed to get excited about Aggie football. And so we've kind of gotten into this mode of next man up, next man up, next man up. And that's not to diminish the two Shamars and Nick, because those guys were really talented players and impacted the game last year in a lot of ways. But again, I think we do feel comfortable about the pipeline of guys that we have and what we're going to be able to do.
Coach, for coming tonight, 2 questions. First of all, what do you define success for next A&M football season? And second question, what is the type of athlete that you're trying to recruit to Texas A&M in this current field?
I think the second one first, and I've spoken about this a lot. We have a necessary need to get more NFL players on our team. And there's a lot that goes into that statement. Part of it is who you recruit. Part of it is development once they're on campus and how they grow within your program. But in my opinion, a large part of that is mental makeup. And are you recruiting kids who are serious about football, serious about doing the things they need to do to get better, to become the football player that they're capable of being? Or are you just recruiting kids who love recruiting, right? And if they love recruiting, they kind of never stop the recruiting process, and you don't ever truly get the best out of them from a football standpoint. And so I think there's a lot of character evaluation that goes into what we're trying to do. Obviously, there's a talent skill set, right? And people always try to live on one side of the fence or the other and say like, do you want 5-star talent or do you want 3-star guys who are hard workers? Well, I want 5-star guys who are hard workers because those are the guys who go to the NFL, and I want 3-star guys who are really talented and maybe got overlooked because those guys will go to the NFL too. And that's what the history of kind of evaluating this stuff will show you. And that's what we have to do. I think we've got to put ourselves in position to develop more NFL talent, and that's really important. In terms of how you define success, I've always shied away from those questions because I think when you're in the process of growing and building, you just need to continue to grow and build. And sometimes those things are in results, and sometimes they're not. Sometimes you get results, but you're not growing and building, right? And then all of a sudden the house that you build falls down and it falls flat on its face. And so I just want this program to continue to push forward towards becoming the best version of itself. And I know that's coach speak a little bit, but I really truly believe that's what we have to do. And I think there's a lot of internal markers that we're paying attention to that I believe ultimately will lead to a consistently successful program. And as long as those things continuing trending in the right direction, recruiting continues trending in the right direction, sometimes that will tell a better story than whether or not ultimately you get the yard you need or the stop you need or the ball to bounce the way you need it to bounce. All right. That was like loud and proud right there. This one's going to be a good one, I think.
Welcome, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks for being back in Texas. My question to you is just kind of off of what you just said. Growing and building. College football, all the college sports are no longer growing. They're transferring here, transferring there. Kids leaving, kids coming. How does your team as coaches look at a prospect coming in to determine, is this young man going to stay with me, or is he going to jump ship next year? I guess my question is how difficult does that become for you and your staff to recruit?
Yeah, great question, because I like to talk on this topic a lot. I think there is a complete misconception of what elite football rosters looks like. So if you study the teams in the playoff last year, those teams were 85% homegrown starters. 85% kids who started at that university and ended at that university. And then 15% of kids that came in and filled holes and filled needs. There are other programs who don't do that. There are other programs who are bringing in 30 plus transfers every year, but those programs aren't in the playoffs and they're not playing at the end of the season, and they're just making really loud splashes on social media at different points during the year, which I think catches a lot of people's attention. But I don't know that anyone ever quality control checks that at the end of the season to say, oh, well, we were really excited about that team back in December, but they actually didn't do anything with all of the kids they got in the transfer portal. And so I do think that's a piece of it. I think the portal matters. I think recruiting the portal matters, but I don't think it's quite as transactional as like some of the other sports. Like I think basketball in a lot of places have been 12 for 12 switches in a lot of programs. And we're not seeing that like that for the really good football teams. And then, it matters. It matters a lot. And I think it matters in terms of the kid that you're bringing in and why they're choosing Texas A&M. And I think I've used this analogy a lot, talking to people, trying to explain to them the NIL world. But the best way that I can do it is this. If you think about it like you have a payroll and you're trying to go out and hire the best possible employees you could for your business, right? You would try to identify first and foremost who fits your culture, who had the necessary talent to come in and help your business grow, who could fill needs for what you're trying to do. And then when you identified someone who you think fit all of that, you would go try to make a competitive value offer to get him into your program. The second you felt as though that guy was taking that offer and running to another business, running to another company, you would lose a lot of faith in who that person was and maybe not want to bring him into your culture. And I think we try to do a lot of that. And I think it's really, really important to do a lot of that. And as you go through the process, a lot of times, and again, I said this when I got here, the person who has success at Texas A&M is going to be the person who does the right thing that they believe is the right thing all the time and ignores all the noise. Because there's times where you walk away from a player that maybe doesn't get the best reaction from a passionate fan base, but you believe is just the right long-term decision for Texas A&M football, and you have to do that. And that's what every coach, I think, in this world has to do with, and we're just trying to navigate that to the best of our ability. Good. Oh, we got one in the back. Is that you, Carter? Because you don't get any. This isn't a press conference.
setters this year and really hope to set the culture both on the field and in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you look at Torian York as kind of being the figure of that and what he does from a leadership standpoint. But I also think you've got some guys who were transfers last year that are in their second year, who are really talented players and are a lot more comfortable being leaders in our locker room. You know, Armaje Reed Adams, who's voted captain. He was a kid that transferred in a year, last offseason. That I think is a tremendous sign of what the people in our locker room think of him. Will Lee has turned into a really, really good leader in our secondary and a guy who can push buttons the right way. I think Cassius Howell is bringing some leadership qualities to the defensive front. And so I think you've got a good blend of just now guys who have either bought into what we're trying to do or recruited into what we're about, that are now kind of adding some of that leadership value, and I think providing this thing the direction that it needs. Good? Oh, do we have one more? We have one more. There's a lot of suspense on this one, so make this a good one.
Hey, Coach. Was wanting to hear a little bit about Jacob Zeno. I believe it was his 6th year transferring in from UAB. Want to know what he's bringing to the quarterback room and what was kind of the driving force, what led A&M to finish out his career.
Yeah, I think it's his 7th year, to be honest with you. I think he's like 29 years old. I love you, Jacob. If someone just tweeted that out, please tweet out the follow-up. Carter, can you get the follow-up to the statement, please? No, I think we wanted to go out and find a little bit of experience in the room. I think that room got real young real quick, and you have Marcel, who's a young kid. You have Miles O'Neill, who's a young kid, obviously bringing in Brady Hart, who really should be a high school senior this year coming up. And so you've got a really, really young room. And so we were going out trying to find an experienced veteran who wanted to come in and compete for an opportunity. And we were able to convince Jacob to come do that here with us. He's a Texas kid. I think the idea of playing at Texas A&M, being part of this program, playing for Coach Klein, I think all of those things kind of combined. And he's been everything we hoped he'd be. He's a savvy veteran. He's played an awful lot of football. I think he's getting more and more comfortable with our system every time he goes out there and executes and operates it. And so I think he's putting himself in position to be everything we kind of hoped he would be coming in. Good. Well, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everything that you do for Texas A&M. I'm honored and I'm blessed to be your head football coach. And so thank you for everything. Looking forward to this fall. Thanks, and Jacob.
Now, most of what Mike Elko has said in Houston, in Austin, in Fort Worth, in Dallas has been mostly the same, almost the exact same speech, so you get an idea of the kind of message he's wanting to put out there to the fans. So just a few little tweaks here and there. And the questions, of course, at the end are different as he goes around the state. So a little taste of what the Aggies are doing this offseason and how Mike Elko is thinking about the team heading into his second season at the helm. So we'll be back next week with the kind of more traditional format, I would think, with Max and Tyler here, and we can break down a little bit more of this big signing class A&M is starting to put together in the 2026 class, and get into a little bit more preparation as media days for football is right around the corner. So for the absent Tyler Shaw and Max Crawford, I'm Travis Brown. This is the Aggie Game Day Extra Podcast. We'll see you next week.